At what age did you start being in a wheelchair and how did it happen?
When I was 2 years old, I was in a car accident and I had a spinal cord which left me paralyzed, and now I use a wheelchair.
How is your coming out experience?
My coming out experience was pretty unique, I would say, because I told all my close friends and my family that I had met Danny and that I had fallen in love, but it was right around the time that the Glee Project happened. So Danny and I made a music video, and that's how we told the world that we were together, and that's how I told the world that I was in a relationship with a woman.
What do you think is the largest obstacle you've had to face in your life?
I think the obvious answer to the largest obstacle I've ever had to get over in my life is being in a wheelchair. But there are days that I don't feel like that is my largest obstacle, because it feels like so normal to me to be in a chair because it's all I remember, therefore all I know. So sometimes I feel like it's not my wheelchair that I'm having to overcome, it's the world's view of somebody with a disability.
What stereotypes do you think you are most commonly presented with? Like, how do you think people most commonly stereotype you?
I think I'm most commonly labeled or stereotyped as somebody who is disabled or handicapped or whatever someone's choosing to use. And often people say, oh, you're too pretty to be in a wheelchair, or, oh, that's not permanent, right? Or I'm so sorry, I feel so bad for you. And those are stereotypes or comments that I've had to digest and decide how I want to feel about. And because my initial reaction is usually to be annoyed, like, excuse me, what do you mean? Like, I'm too pretty to be in a wheelchair? That doesn't even make sense. But I think everyone is learning and digesting people and new things all the time, and I feel like it is most helpful to appreciate everyone for where they're at, and if they don't understand something about me or why I'm in a wheelchair, it's an opportunity for me to open their eyes and see and help them see that there are so many things about a disability that are wonderful, that are not bad.
Would you say that just through education is the way you combat those stereotypes or ignorances that you have to face?
I would say that I combat ignorances or people who misunderstand me with compassion and with patience, because not everyone has had a friend or knows anyone in a wheelchair, so it might be something that people don't understand, and it's an opportunity to help someone see something differently, and that's one of my greatest passions, is to help people see things differently.
But would you say you face more social stigmas for being in a wheelchair than your sexual orientation?
I would say that I definitely face more social stigmas around being in a wheelchair than I do around my sexual orientation, because it's 2014 and being gay is not that uncommon, and it's in the media and the news all the time about gay marriage and gay rights, but disability is still something that is not talked about that often, and because disabilities range from, there's so many different, I like to call them different abilities, because, anyone could say that they have a disability, but, even people that have spinal cord injuries, their body has some kind of different response to it. So I think education around disability and equal opportunities for people with disabilities is where I think there are a lot of social stigmas.
Do you think we need to rid society of stereotypes, and how do you think we should best go about doing that?
I think that the world will always have stereotypes. However, I think it's our own responsibility, personal responsibility, to decide whether or not the stereotype is helpful or not. And often stereotypes are not helpful, especially when getting to know someone, because not all people in wheelchairs are the same. Not all gay people are the same. And, looking beyond that stereotype, looking beyond that label, is an opportunity for someone to get to know someone and maybe have compassion for what they've been through in their life. And, I hope that, we are able to see beyond the shells that we are given, because we are so much more than that.
Where do you get your strength to be such an awesome and unique individual, and how do you maintain being such an inspiration to so many people without getting overwhelmed and etc.?
I think I find my strength from my family and my friends, and I think I stay grounded and focused because I always try to stay true to what I think my purpose is in the world, and I feel fortunate to be able to help people and use my gifts at the same time. So performing and acting and singing and dancing, but also helping people while I do that. And part of that is helping people see that just because you're in a wheelchair, you can be a dancer. And just because you're in a wheelchair, you can be on TV and you can be an actress and a singer. And, your obstacle can be an opportunity.
How do you feel about social norms?
I wish that social norms came up in conversation more, because I think it's the norm. People think that it's normal that, to tell a boy or a guy or a man to man up or suck it up. And often that is not helpful for someone who's going through something emotionally or has feelings. But the social norm is that a guy is supposed to act tough. So in that way, I don't think social norms are helpful. I think that, questioning what we know, questioning what we've been taught is scary, but also exciting, because there are so many layers to why there are social norms in place. And if there were more conversations had, I think that there would be some more awareness around it.
How do you feel about derogatory terms?
Derogatory terms, I choose not to use derogatory terms towards any person. It's not how I want to be treated. I don't want people calling me derogatory things, therefore I don't call other people derogatory things, because I think what you put out in the world is at some point going to come back to you, and I want to treat everyone with respect. Everyone deserves that. We're all human beings, and even in heat of anger, or when someone cuts you off on the road, there is a temptation to want to get mad or call someone out or shut them down. But really, in the end, you're hurting yourself. I think that, we all have the potential to be extraordinary beings with a open heart. And it is a choice. It is a choice how you want to respond, and if you want to be reactive, if you want to take a moment for yourself to actually realize what is actually triggering you in that moment. It's probably not that person. It's probably something inside of you. And again, that's an opportunity for you to do some work with yourself instead of taking out your anger on other people.